So going back to our app, to do application here, login. Okay, I'm just gonna remove my session here, delete the session, and test at test.com1, test 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, test user John Joe. Send login, and coming back here, something happened. Something happened. Now, this is what happened. Invalid or missing from email. All right. Coming back to the code, we're gonna look here and see what happened. Okay.
You're not sending any from.
Yes, I'm not sending any from. So I'm just gonna add a hard-coded from here. No reply at mycompany.com. You can set it up even as a default configuration. And restart everything and see if this time is going to work. Okay, I have to log out again. Actually, I'm just going to create, if I'm still here, an account where we have the logout. I'm just going to do alias get /logout. Just restart my server. This is the Miller one, this is the to-do one, and go to /logout, and then /login, and I've logged out. John@go.com, John Go. Send out, user was created, send out email. Now this is what happened here, let's see. Alright. The main idea is that the to-do application called the mailer application, and the mailer application tried to send out an email. Now those are a few
CSS
invert. I'm not sure if I can actually invert fonts. Background, change it to white. Oh, no. Maybe screen background, screen. Which one is black? No. I'm sorry. So this, the black part here says that mock email welcome.swig to John Doe with subject welcome aboard. Now that means that it sent the email, well, it tried to send out the email. It didn't send it actually because the actual sending is disabled, but nevertheless the log.info is called here, send email to John Doe. The mail.send post request is finalized, and the only warning that we had was could not download CSS content from mail.css. This is because the mailing plugin has a built-in system that, together with the less plugin or any kind of or SAS plugin, you can actually have your styles inside the mailing microservice, generate your styles, and style out your layout, your email layout, and the plugin will essentially download that CSS, download all the CSS that it can find in the layout, and essentially inject that CSS inline in every single DOM item that it sees, so that most mailing clients know how to display. Some clients allow inline CSS like with the style tags. Some clients allow only inline CSS at the DOM layer. And most clients don't actually download the CSS file if you include it with a link. So this is done out of the box, and the main idea here is that we have two microservices that communicate with each other, and one called the other one. Essentially, if we look at the code, okay, it took us 10 lines to make a call from one microservice to the other, and then it took us a single line of code to authorize a request coming from a service within our cluster. So the discovery system is pretty strong in my opinion. It's easy for the developer. Let's say in a development environment, if you have like 10 microservices, you can place 2 or 3 of them in the cloud, for example, with mailer apps, and expose their public IP or hosts, and have your development cluster environment use them instead of launching 10 Node.js instances. So you can do that also. Because of the way everything is wrapped behind the hood, behind the scenes, you don't have to worry about cluster registration and tokens and authorization and all that. Everything's done for you. So it's essentially a plug-and-play system where you can divide your functionality amongst the different microservices. So in this case, we have a small app that uses 3 plugins and a transport. And then we have another one that uses 3 plugins, a transport, and a store. The mailer doesn't have to know about the actual SQL models, and the app, the to-do app, doesn't have to know about any kind of mailing settings or mailing templates. So essentially, when you want to update your email templates, just deploy to the mailer, and you don't even have to restart the actual API or anything, just the mailer apps. So this was the main idea that I wanted to cover in this discovery system. The idea that it's wise to divide your applications into multiple smaller instances that do separate kind of things. And now, using the same technique, you can also imagine a similar to-do task app, for example, where whenever a to-do.create happens, right here, when you have filter create.after, you receive the intent object and the to-do object, right? You can actually let's just include this discovery object here, use it here, and let's say that we want to send out the fact that a to-do was created to a second microservice that essentially, I don't know, counts to-dos or does something with them, right? So we have discovery.dispatch, we're going to call it a worker, to-do.created, and we have to-do object.toJSON. Then go to-do here to be processed. Okay, so let's see. Let's just quickly create another to-do worker. I'm just going to use everything from the mailer, include it here, and we don't actually need emails. We just need a single action called to-do, for example. Actually, just process. Let's call it process and to-do. Here we're going to have an action called process.to-do. We're still going to use the discovery authorization, and we're just going to use the raw input this time. To-do data, intent object, raw input, because we trust the actual input, because it's coming from within our microservices. Log.info, to-do, to be processed. To-do data. Next, just finalize the request. We don't need that anymore. inside our configuration, it's not mailer anymore, it's going to be called a worker. The same goes for the worker here. Inside here, we don't need node mailer, nunjucks, we just need the transport and the plugin, and essentially another command prompt here. Okay, so the examples, so the to-do task. Just npm install it, and while it's being installed, worker. While it's being installed, just a bit of cleanup here, we don't need it. Okay, here we don't need this. And we're going to make it work on port 3002. We don't need a CDN again. Close everything up. And wait for it. Okay, node worker. Sorry, this is to-do worker. Node worker.js. Cannot find Thorin. Did I just install? I installed the wrong one. Alright. Sorry about that. Install it quickly. And right here. Still installing. In the meanwhile, I'm just going to restart the to-do app. Start the worker app here. Yes, I have to also clean up this. So I just need the discovery plugin without the other ones. And if we start it up, we're going to notice here that Thorin app, worker, and the random number started. And it's inside the cluster with 3 nodes. So again, we have a microservice that's inside the cluster. We have the to-do application, which is right here. And then we have the mailer app, which is right here. I'm going to hide this for a second. And start up create a to-do. So we have to-do.create, where we had name, right? A to-do work. Where text, I want to work. And it's done, obviously false. Alright, so we send it out, and we notice a couple of things. We know here that the to-do.create action is executed. We insert that to-do inside the database, and then once the request ended, we just to-do queue to be processed. So the API called worker process to enqueue this to-do. So essentially, the worker can now do something with the to-do. It can queue it up in a separate kind of queue. It can send out an email saying, hey, you just added this to-do, awesome. It can check whether or not this to-do is done in the next 5 hours. And send out an email via the mailer app saying, hey, you still haven't done this to-do. It's time to work. Alright. So it took us 5 minutes to add a separate node app called a worker to just integrate it with the cluster, and essentially we have a to-do application that sends out emails and can process different actions within the cluster. Now, there are plenty of other plugins and functionalities that Thorin includes, and I wanted to cover the basics today. Hopefully this was entertaining for you guys. An actual documentation is going to come up in the following days with Thorin, and its full documentation and everything for each and every single plugin, store and transport. All these examples are going to be placed in the they're going to be uploaded to GitHub, all the code that we talked about today, so everything's going to be public. So if you have any kind of, wait, let me just enter presenter mode. If we're going to have any kind of questions about stuff, yes?
About the discovery.
about the discovery.
You just need the plugin. You don't need to create a separate project, a separate app to be, I don't know, something like the cluster to.
Alright, so as I said, out of the box, there is a discovery server that actually does this for you. Is hosted by sconfig.io. So that actual discovery project is open source, and you can simply just clone it, and if you have issues with compliances, you can just run it inside your local cluster. And if you look here in the actual plugin, where is it? Right here, there's a gateway, which by default is the discovery found on Thorin.js, or on sconfig.io. You can set your own default gateway, so you can actually just go with it in-house if you really want to. So the idea behind the discovery system on sconfig was to make it as easy as possible for developers and friendly development to start and just develop, focus on your app. Don't focus on reinventing the wheel, just focus on your app. Yeah. Any other questions? Alright, so that concludes our first and hopefully not last Thorin.js training. Thank you so much for coming and for viewing this video. This was made in partnership with helloJS, Cluj-Napoca, and you can also become a helloJS writer, or comment, write, draw, tweet about it, share it. From me, from all of us at Unlock and helloJS, we thank you and good night.
Good night.